Welcome, everyone. We're back once again at the Positive Deposit Podcast. It's I'm smiling because I have a really good close friend of mine, frat brother, but and he understands what's going on. As I told you, Mark, and just for those that are listening, the Positive Deposit Podcast is all about transforming the mind to change lives. And here we allow cancer survivors just like myself, even and our guest today, to share their journey, um, give us the picture that some people may not be able to see. So it gives any survivor or recently diagnosed patient to the ability to paint the picture and let people in, but also to inspire others. And so today I have Mark Smith. He's a Howard alum, just like myself. You see the bison right there. From Detroit. And before we get started, did you have anything to say to the people, Mark?
I really just want to thank you. I want to thank Positive Deposits. This is amazing what you're doing out here. Really encouraging cancer survivors and people that are going through cancer and treatments to, know that there's another side to it and that everything is possible. And I appreciate you allowing me to share my story.
No, we appreciate you. And you're someone that's special. You're a different type of survivor. I'm two-time, but you're three-time, survivor. And first of all, I just commend you for just fighting, because I'm sure it's not easy. And so we're gonna get into that. So let's introduce yourself. Give the people. Let people know who you are before you start telling them about these monuments that you've battled.
Sure, absolutely, brother. So again, my name is Mark Smith. As Presley mentioned, I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. I went to Howard University, of course.
Sir.
We are here, Bison. And then sort of after that, I went back to Detroit. I did some real estate development, then came out here, jumped on some political campaigns, worked for Mario's campaign and in her office, done some nonprofit work after that, worked for a developer, and now I'm with the federal government working on youth programs.
Oh, awesome, man. Extensive resume. But I wouldn't expect nothing less from a bison,
Yeah,
but
we are here.
We are. Let's get into it. 2005. Where was your headspace? What was going on?
Man, so 2005, I recently come out of Howard. I was back in Detroit and working on some real estate out there. So, it was kind of high pressure out there, kind of work for yourself, all that good stuff. But,
Yeah.
I started sort of having, headaches. So this is 2005. So I was about 28, I believe. So, I started having headaches and, I talked to my mom, she said that she developed sinus headaches around that same age. So she said, maybe you take some sinus medicine or whatever, maybe that'll help it out a little bit. So I did that, but, it kind of continued. So, maybe a week and a half in, the only thing that, as it progressed or whatever, the only thing that would help is if I just went to sleep. So I found myself just sleeping a lot.
You was working so much, that's what you thought the headaches were,
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was, just stressed and like, whatever. But as it kind of continued or whatever, it was just kind of debilitating that for a minute. So I made an appointment, and then sort of like, I believe it was like the day before that I was supposed to go. I just started, sorry for the audience, but I started throwing up like,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So,
And this is in the office.
yeah, well, yeah, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we're young entrepreneurs or whatever, so the office was like the living room, but yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, so went to the doctor. It was I remember it, like yesterday, man. It was went to the doctor. It was a Friday afternoon. They ran a bunch of tests, and then came back later on that night and told me, we got some good news and some bad news.
Mm.
So the good news is that it's not a sinus headache. Bad news is that you have a plasmacytoma. Essentially, it's a cancer about this big, and it's growing between your skull and your brain.
Oh
And we're
wow.
gonna have to do surgery first thing in the morning. So, you
I'm
know,
just Mark, just taking that in myself. I'm like, WTF?
oh man. I mean, it was just real, man. I mean, I think that, you know, it wasn't even a whole lot of time to process it either,
Right.
because, like I said, they came by toward the latter half of the evening, so visiting hours was over. So, like, my mom, my sister, my little brother that came out to be with me in the hospital, they had to go home in like 20 minutes. So it was just me sort of in the hospital, by myself. You know what I mean? And
So why did they have to leave? You know what I mean? Like they.
visiting hours,
Oh wow.
yeah, I mean, visiting
So
hours were
your
over. So,
support network can't even be with you. They just gotta go.
yeah, like 20 minutes later, they had to leave. So, you
Wow.
know, I mean, it's just, like, oh, like they just dropped the bomb and then boom, like, all right. It was like, well, I love you guys and see you in the morning. Like,
Oh, that's
I mean,
brutal.
but again, though, still not so bad.
Okay.
I mean, just so, me myself or whatever, I don't like to dwell on things, and you know, I think if they would have told me to come back in like 2 weeks for the surgery, I think I probably would have been more messed up by that.
Yeah. Okay.
Than
Immediate
like,
action. Don't prolong it. Let's get the
yeah,
ball rolling.
yeah, let's get everything done, over with, and let's start the road to recovery. Um, but it did happen like that. So, my parents and my family, were able to come out that morning. Um, we had like Jay-Z banging in the background or whatever,
Yo,
right
you had
before the
your
surgery.
victory music already. Just
Yeah,
let's get in the groove.
I had to pump it up a little bit.
Okay.
So that was good, man. I mean, so I mean, we went and did the surgery. I think the
And what was the
surgery.
surgery for?
So it was to remove the tumor. So I
Okay.
had, again, like a tumor that was growing between the the brain and the skull.
Okay.
So what was happening was the blood that was flowing to my head. It was allowing the blood to flow in. However, it couldn't flow out. So that just created a
Oh,
massive headache.
I know how
Um,
that feels, brother. I do know how
yeah.
that feels.
Yeah, so I mean, the tumor was just actually blocking blood from flowing back in, or what I mean, flowing back out or whatever. So, that was sort of causing all the pressure that was going on. So they did the surgery and removed as much of the tumor as they could. Um, you know, but I had to, of course, stay in the hospital. I woke up. It was, I got a big like patch on the back of my head. They shaved my head kind of crazy or whatever. I had the worst bowl haircut that you can imagine. Uh, so that was Saturday morning or whatever. But I woke up, I was lucid. One of my cousins came down. He brought a chessboard out there. I whooped him up real quick.
Yeah, yeah, I heard you're
Uh,
a chess wizard, you know.
I do all right. I do all right. Um, but the recovery, just quite honestly, it was just like, I think the I think the roughest part of it was just the day-to-day sort of after that. I think they
Were
got
there
as much
like
as
was
the
that side effects from the surgery or I mean
well,
the
not
recovery?
necessarily. Yeah, not necessarily side effects from the surgery or anything. I mean, I have a big scar on the back of my head or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, and my head was, of course, sore and numb for a couple weeks. But as a part of the treatment, I had to do radiation.
Wow.
So I had to do radiation for the pieces of the tumor that were that they couldn't get with the surgery, to shrink them down and kill them all.
What is
Um,
radiation? What was I know some people get it on their chest and things of that nature. Now,
sure.
radiation is going to the back of your head. How does that feel? Like, is it painful? Is it in and out? Is okay? You know?
It's not painful at all. Essentially they give you well, they make you a mask, and then the mask is made of a plastic, and then they sort of fit it to your face. So it kind of looks like Spider-Man. Like you look like
Okay.
Spider-Man, basically. Uh, but they and it's used to make sure that you stay in the exact same place every time you come.
Okay.
So they make this big mask and they make holes for the mask or whatever. And when you come to do your appointment or whatever, they screw the mask into the table so that you are always oriented in the same exact spot every time. And then they have
Sounds like
the
Frankenstein. Like, you
uh,
can't move. You just,
oh man, I mean, if you are, sort of claustrophobic or anything like that,
yeah.
like, you know, it, you need to get over it quickly. You know what I mean? Like because you can't move for, I think the
Right.
sessions were about an hour, hour and a half. Um,
Did you have to
but
mentally prepare yourself every time? Like, I'm just imagining myself if I have to get strapped down. I feel like I'm a science experiment, but like,
I
what was
mean,
that going into every session of radiation?
yeah, and I'm not highly claustrophobic, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but I've never had to, never, like really, like never had to be like stationed in one place physically, like screwed down to a desk. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was
Yeah.
like I mean, for say like the first 20 minutes, maybe half hour or so, like I was good, especially for that first session or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do remember, like, even in the first session or whatever, like, we just had to take a quick little TV time out or whatever. I told him, I gotta scratch my face, like, you know, it was like, just, whatever I could think of, like, just pull this thing off me real quick,
So after you
um,
did the radiation, you did all that, and then you were good to go. You were in the clear after that.
yeah, essentially, so, we went through that, and of course, radiation was, I want to say it was about a month to a month and a half. And that's just every week, like, sort of going through. And the radiation itself doesn't hurt,
Hmm.
but you can hear it. Like you can hear like it actually, and even, sort of feel it, like it actually cooking down. I mean, maybe especially since it was in my head and close to my ears, but you can hear it like sizzling, like you can hear the inside of your head sizzling.
So yeah,
Um,
so pretty much you're the meat. The back of your head is the
yeah,
meat, and the table you were on is the frying pan as it's
man.
melting it down some more.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what it is, man. I
Wow,
mean, it's
wow.
it's it's basically like a microwave. Like you are, in a microwave, and you can hear it and like hear it just sizzling down inside your head. Like, but it wasn't painful. I'll say that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So you went through that, 3 years later, someone else came on knocking on your door. Something else came knocking on your door.
Yeah, so that was 2005. So then in 2008, um, I had moved back to Washington D.C. So I moved back to D.C. And again, yeah, I came up here and worked for Muriel for a little while. And then I moved from Muriel's into what was called Realty Services for
Okay.
DC. So kind
Staying in
of,
your passion of real estate, just staying doing
yeah,
what you do.
So, I was out there or whatever and negotiating leases for government agencies, doing space allocations. And again, it was still, kind of high pressure. I think I had the most projects, not even I think, I know I had the most projects within my division. So I literally was managing 8 separate projects all at the same time. And just to give you an idea, like, people were falling out about having 3. So, again, it was just kind of, another high pressure situation or
Yeah.
whatever. And, kind of with that, uh, I was with my girlfriend at the time and, all that good stuff. And, you know, what happened was I was having issues with my rib. And I just couldn't figure out what was going on with my rib or whatever. So, we're a couple years, past the cancer stuff or whatever.
Yep.
But like after a while, I was just kind of like, yo, this feels bad. You know what I mean? Like, so I scheduled again, went to the doctor, and the doctor ran like some X-rays, and from there came back was like, so you got into a fight recently? I'm like, nah, I hadn't been in no fights, man.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know, in the weight room or, maybe somebody hit you with a bat or something. Like, nah, man, none of that stuff, bro. She's like, well, you've got a broken rib.
A broken
So
rib. Sheesh.
yeah. So you know, I, like, I don't even know how I would ever get a broken rib. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I did tell him like, hey, what I'm saying? Like, I had this cancer that was called plasmacytoma, about 3 years ago. Do you think it could be related? He was like, no, I don't think so. So, he's a doctor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know
I don't
anything, man.
know. Tell me something. I got a broken rib out of nowhere.
Yeah. So, from there, whatever, with a broken rib or whatever, there's really nothing you can do or whatever. Like, take some pain meds or whatever, sleep on the other side, like sleep on your back, whatever. But like, there's just really nothing you can really do about it. Like, it ain't no like, we're gonna patch this up for you. Like, nah, it's just like, that's just what it is. So, kind of with that or whatever. So I was sleeping on my other side, so sleeping on my right side or whatever, and then I got like a crook in my neck. Um,
So you all right now? You got a broken rib. Now all of a
yeah,
sudden you got a crook in it. So you
yeah. So I got a crook in
went to
my
the
neck.
hospital? Did you just
I
okay,
mean, I was,
falling
I
apart?
tried. I mean, I was trying to, just of course, like, self, medicate and like help it out and all that good stuff or whatever. So, I'm like, doing heat, doing cold, like seeing if anything kind of works to kind of relieve it. Like, um, but again, nothing happened. So again, about 2 weeks later, I go and like, all right, I'm gonna just go to the doctor or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I was sleeping on the couch at the time or whatever up in my girlfriend's apartment, and um, you know, about to get ready to go for this AM appointment to the doctor or whatever, and I go and lift my head up, and then I hear like 3 cracks, crack, 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 boom, and my
Uh,
neck is broken. So
what?
like, my neck is like completely broken, brother. So like, I could literally like pick it up and like move it or whatever, but
What? Yo, that's
like,
crazy.
it was gone. Like literally, like the only way I could do anything with it is to actually just pick it up and just move it. You know what I mean? Like, nothing I could do. So, we I mean, I take an ambulance to the doctor, I mean to the hospital again, and they run some tests, all that good stuff or whatever. So now the plasmacytoma has become what's called multiple myeloma.
Wow.
So So essentially, what it is, multiple myeloma is a cancer that likes to eat bones. Um,
Okay.
so the cancer had eaten through my rib already, and had eaten through my neck, which was causing a cramp, in my neck and all that good
Yeah.
stuff or whatever. So like, um, so now since it's in more than one place or whatever, before, it's basically the same kind of cancer, but before, since it's only in one site, which was in my head, they're like, plasmacytoma. Now you have multiple myeloma. Um,
Sheesh.
and sort of the treatment was really like, they really wanted to take care of what was going on in my neck,
Yeah.
and try to treat that.
Of course,
So
man. You got a broken neck. I mean, like,
yeah,
let's get you back. No neck brace, nothing. You're just bobblehead.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
it was terrible, bro. It was terrible. I mean, I mean, but the thing, it wasn't any pain with it, for real, for real. Like there was no real pain with it. It was just like it doesn't exist anymore. Like my neck doesn't
Yeah.
exist anymore. But like there was no pain with it. There was still, I mean, the rib was, I'd say, a whole lot more painful.
Okay.
Um,
So what is
you know,
treatment like that? So once they, kind of gave you this new diagnosis, and I'm assuming you had to really, not only immediately get this rolling, but I think you got to get a stem cell.
yeah, yeah. So
So what
yeah,
is that for people that don't know what that means, or what that, walk us through what stem cell transplant, really is.
so a stem cell transplant is essentially using, they harvest the stem cells either from you or from another person.
Okay.
um, and they use those stem cells. They clean them up a little bit in a centrifuge,
Right.
and they'll re-inject them back into you. But now, since they have been cleaned up of everything else or whatever, they can actually go in and fight the cancer.
Oh,
Um,
that's dope.
yeah. So before that or whatever, you do sort of like well, I did the big chemo or whatever because they wanted me to basically start off with, fresh cells and all that good stuff, and then they sort of inject you with these super boosters to
Yeah.
fight off, what I'm saying, like the cancer. So first they go through and wipe everything out, and then they inject you, with these brand new stem cells that are going in there, Mike Tyson style, to knock it out.
Okay. Now with chemo, did you have to get like R-CHOP? Was it like the aggressive type of chemo, or was it more like the mild, like the ABVD? You know what I mean? Like, did you have?
Now that is a good question because I don't even know the answer to that one. But I could tell you that the side effects from that were like, immediately, when I woke up, like my hair started falling out,
Yep.
eyebrows, hair, like everything, just like
How was your sense of taste? That was gone too?
yeah, I mean, I had a metallic taste in my
Yeah.
mouth, and I smelled like popcorn, what I'm saying? But like, you know,
That's
so I
the
mean,
first time. That's the first time. And so you did the stem cell, you did the chemo. How long was that approximately, that treatment?
I mean, I think they kind of really did that sort of within the week or whatever. So like first they did the chemo, and then by the end of the week or whatever, they did the stem cell transplant. Um, I was in the hospital for a few weeks after.
Okay.
And then, from there it was, ordered, sort of, bed rest or whatever. Um,
So let me ask you this, you talked about work, and, you took most of the load, do you think, because I've been told, I got to keep my stress level down low. Do you
yeah.
think probably that high stress, this new job, taking on a lot more than others kind of, jump started, this
Oh
second
yeah.
round?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I completely believe that uh, it's related to stress.
Yeah.
Um, and, you know, sort of, not being able to either deal with it, like I, I think, I mean, you've known me forever or whatever, and I'm generally just a
Yeah.
laid back type of person or whatever. So
Right.
even if even at work or whatever, or even if stuff is high stress or whatever, like I deal with it internally, make some plans, what I'm
Right. Right.
saying,
Right.
develop something to execute it, and boom, what I'm saying. But like, that still takes a certain level of stress to go through and, sort of make the duck or the swan floating on the water look graceful or whatever. Like
Right.
I'm doing all the work back in the lab and all that good stuff. So, it does take a lot on stress.
So
So
how do
I
you
think that's
adjust
it.
now? How are you adjusting now with your work, your work life?
I mean, just truthfully, man, like I've, just taken less stressful jobs, what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, and, sort of taking a step back from being a lead on a lot of projects or whatever, because, the money or, sort of the job or whatever is just not worth my life.
Yeah. Yeah. So you had to
Um,
scale back. It's okay to scale back.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that I truly believe like that. It was a driving factor in any time that I've had these incidents of cancer was sort of during my highest times of stress.
So there's a so you're a father,
Mhm.
how old is your son?
He just turned 7, Cinco de
7.
Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo. So how is it possible? I know they say cancer patients they have a harder time having kids, and you made it happen. How was that possible? Because obviously you just finished, this second round, and then you were able to become a father.
Yeah. So after the second, well, before the second round, I should say, the doctor sort of talked to me or whatever and said that, hey, there's a slight possibility that you've been doing these pre-treatments of cancer, which is like low doses of some cancer meds or whatever. Before I even had the big chemo and the transplant or whatever, for months before that, I'd say probably 4 months before that,
Hmm.
I was taking, weekly injections of these pre-cancer meds.
Oh wow.
Uh, so they told me that, because of that or whatever, it's had an effect on, having children. So, he said that, would you like to freeze your sperm? I said, well, yeah, sure,
I guess
I'll
so,
try
right?
it. Yeah,
I
like
mean, do I have a
I don't want
choice?
to. Yeah, I mean, I just didn't want to roll the dice. I mean, even though he said it might have, there's a chance that it could happen or whatever. Like, I didn't want to roll the dice. So, what I did was, I went to a sperm bank and like, you know, put about, I don't know, 10 kids on ice real quick.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know,
Is it
and
expensive?
so it's about $400 a year.
That's it?
Yeah, yeah, $40 a month for if you want to, kind of like car insurance or whatever. You want to pay monthly, it'll be $40 a month. If you want to pay for the whole year, it's $400. Like
Yo, I
that's
should have I should have called you because man, the quotes that I was getting was like 800 and per
nah,
month. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just like, man, if it's gonna cost that much, I'm good, man.
yeah,
I'm not doing it.
nah. And I found a good place. They were highly rated, all that good stuff in the local
Okay.
area. So I went ahead and did that, and turns out the girlfriend I had at the time or whatever, we wound up getting married.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we got married, um, and then a few years later,
Very fun wedding, by the way. Yeah, the
uh,
wedding
I'm
was
I'm
popping.
glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you
it
enjoyed it,
was it
brother.
was it was it's a great situation. But
Excellent. So a couple years later or whatever, we decided like, all right, we're gonna try to have kids or whatever.
yeah.
And she had some problems before or whatever. And I had some problems, so we went. We both got tested or whatever to see if it was a possibility, because it was still sort of lingering in my mind, like I don't even know if I got swimmers right now.
Right.
So we both got tested or whatever. They uh they give you like I don't know, a biopsy on your testes or whatever. Not very fun, brother.
I mean, I already know a biopsy on my chest ain't fun, so I can only imagine down there. Oh wow. Okay.
So we did that. She got tested or whatever. And it turns out, blessings, that she was fine or whatever. But I didn't have any more swimmers.
Oh wow.
Um,
So thank God you froze that sperm.
yeah, absolutely. So we just went on ahead and explored the possibilities of doing IVF.
Nice.
And IVF, for a guy or whatever, it's just like, all right, well, I'll see you at the appointment. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, but it sort of entails, taking nightly shots and, preparing the eggs, and you're trying to get your egg count
Yeah.
up, and then you do a big booster shot toward the end or whatever, to get the
Right.
maximum amount of eggs, for sort of, getting ready for like transplanting the sperm into the eggs. So they did that, and they inseminated, I think about 10 eggs,
Nice.
and out of that, they just kind of wanted to know, like, what was it, you they do ask you, do you want a boy or a girl, like, you know,
Oh, you can create. You could just
eh,
say you can make it possible scientifically. Oh, so
yeah,
you
I
you
mean,
you said no. I need a boy.
if we just chefing up here or whatever, I mean, I did tell them, I just want a healthy baby, you know what I'm saying? But if it's a boy, it'd be good, like. So they and we were also just thinking about doing twins or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, like, uh, she had some complications before or whatever. So like, we just decided, like, and the doctor just scared us out of it or whatever. So we went ahead and just did one, and that was like a day of decision. Like, we decided that in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I think we came in there thinking like, yeah, we're doing these twins or whatever. And doctor's like, it can have more complications and all that good stuff, whatever.
Right.
So
Right.
we was like, all right, we just want a healthy baby, a boy
Exactly.
healthy baby.
So so I'm glad that it worked out. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
yeah.
that's I'm glad you froze your sperm. Now let's fast forward a little bit more, and once again, knock knock.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
10 years
So,
later, and we're at the
so
same space again.
absolutely, bro. So, this is fast forward 10 years or whatever. So, now, sort of 10 years later, from 2008 to 2010, and just to go back a little bit, they told me in 2008, that the stem cell transplant using your own stem cells is great, but it usually has about a 10-year warranty on it. So sort of, when 2008 was coming up, I was still like, well, let's see if we can ride it out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, 2018, I should say, is coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is sort of in the back of my mind or whatever. But I started with the federal government, um, and um, you know, um, came back, and at the time, what happened was I was getting out of a chair, man, like a lazy boy or something like that, and like I heard a pop in my chest or whatever,
Oh man.
and
First the
like,
neck, now the chest. Jesus.
yeah, so this time I just didn't play around with it at all or whatever. So
Yeah.
like, I went straight to the doctor, and like, they're like, well, you got a broken sternum. So
Oh God.
yeah, so this time, I mean, the sternum was probably, not even probably, like, it was probably not even probably, it was the worst,
Okay.
because you don't even know how much you use your sternum until you cannot,
Right.
like, opening doors, like sitting back on the bed. Like you can't do anything without like feeling it. Like, you know.
You can't even get I mean the neck is something, but now your chest, I mean
Yeah.
like dang. But
Yeah.
the good thing is the chemo wasn't that bad this time.
Yeah. No, I mean, so, this time around, I mentioned before that sort of you know, what was done before was like I did sort of like these pre-chemo,
Yeah.
it's still chemo, but it's light dose chemo or whatever. So doing weekly injections of that. And they ran the injections in bone strengtheners for about, I want to say like 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 3 or 4 months. Um, and as a result of that, my numbers had dropped so low in terms of like my kappa and lambda light chains that they asked me like, all right, so we can do sort of the transplant, and before it wasn't an option for me to use anything but my own stem cells, because
Right.
to use someone else's, they have to be a match. And before, in 2008, they had to be a full match. And none of my brothers and sisters were full matches.
Damn.
But time had moved on, and in 2018, they could use half matches. So my
Okay.
brother and my two sisters were now eligible to provide me with stem cells. And with
Amen,
that,
man. Sheesh.
yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And the difference between the two is that, uh, of course, it'll, if you use your own stem cells, it'll work, but it's a shorter warranty. And if you use someone else's, it's generally considered like a cure. You know what I
Right.
mean? Um, so this time around, it was possible. Um, but however, sort of doing the pre treatments,
Yeah.
my numbers had dropped so low. They were like, you know, eh, I mean, you're young, you're still young, you're still healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, and we don't know exactly what the side effects could be. There's just a higher risk, um, you know, using anybody's anything for a transplant. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
like, if we can kind of keep these numbers low, I'd say like let's just continue with using this low dose treatment or whatever, and kind of ride it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I said, all right, let's try it. You know what I mean? Um, so, we did that. And, since I was working for the federal government and all that good stuff, I was able to get a cancer policy, a critical illness policy that covered, cancer illness or whatever. So,
And
you
that's
know,
only through the federal government. So,
uh,
or is
I
there
mean,
other ways? Because
yeah,
that's
yeah. I mean,
amazing.
yeah,
I'm sure
and
that treatment that was right on time. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, it was great, man. I mean, at the time or whatever, so, 2018, sort of, I had just, me and the missus that you went to the great wedding with or whatever, we had, kind of went our separate ways.
Yeah.
So, going through sort of the stress of a divorce and moving and, all that good stuff or whatever, like, that's what
Heavy.
happened. Yeah, so but so with moving and like all that other stuff or whatever, it came at a time where like I was able to use the money from the cancer stuff or whatever, to buy a new investment property that I live in, and kind of keep things moving, and pay off a bunch of lawyer fees and all that good stuff. So
That's what's
you
up.
know
That was a
uh,
blessing, man.
oh yeah, I mean,
Thank
and
God for cancer insurance.
oh, thank you for cancer. I appreciate it. Like,
Appreciate you. So, man, that's awesome, man. And
yeah.
I don't know. Can we share that? It's what's going on now?
Yeah. So, 2018 or whatever, sort of that happened or whatever, and I've been on this low dose cancer, treatment or whatever, chemo treatment for, 2 years. But I went back sort of for the checkup and all that good stuff, and they're like, "Oof, it's back." You know what I mean? Like the cancer's back.
Jesus
So
Christ, man.
yeah, so that was actually earlier this year, in April. Yeah. So that was earlier this year in April.
During
So I
COVID.
yeah,
COVID is one thing, and now, hey, I'm
yeah,
back. I'm back.
yeah.
But the one thing, Mark, you have a great spirits, man. What's your motivation? To keep
Uh,
fighting and fighting and fighting. What is that, man? Because you resilient, you persevering. You look like you in great spirits, man.
I definitely am, brother. I definitely am. I mean, for me, especially now with COVID going on or whatever, like I I try to keep a lot of different projects going on,
Okay.
all at the same time, maybe in different fields or whatever. So like, I might, I'm still trying to hustle and do some real estate stuff or whatever. But just in project management of your life or whatever, like I'm, exercising and
Okay.
constantly cooking and trying to find new recipes. I might kicking it with still doing a lot of as well as a cap. I'm also a mason, so still sort of doing meetings and kind of helping out the lodge,
Yeah. Yeah.
second in command, all that good stuff. So I'm always just multitasking and doing a bunch of projects and all that good stuff, and kind of spreading things out, and keeping my mind busy, is a good way to that helps me, and also just staying lighthearted. Like if
Well,
I can't laugh through it, you know what I mean, like then it's really bad. I mean, I can
so
laugh through anything, brother.
how
You
is
know what I mean?
treatment like during COVID? I know,
I
like,
mean,
is it
so
different? Like,
no, the world is different. You know what I mean? The whole world is different,
yeah,
and it's actually good to have cancer at this time. So in 2008, um, my entire immune system was wiped out. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So with the the big chemo
yep,
and like
yep,
all that stuff or whatever. So like um, when you're going through that or whatever, like people never understood like what does it mean to have a sterile environment? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, oh, why can't I hug you? Like, I love you so much, and like you're going through so much. I just want to hug on you. I'm like, yo, just
I need, yeah, 6 feet.
yeah, yeah, like what I'm saying. But now, the whole world is under compliance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what I'm saying? Like the whole world is, had to change their diets and their eating habits and like all that good stuff or whatever. So like nobody even notices me over here, like,
Right.
being a
So do you have
weirdo
to go
or
into the
whatever.
hospital? Like for your treatment, do you still go into the hospital? What's your treatment plan this time?
So, for right now, what I'm doing is I'm still going through and doing sort of the weekly chemo at an infusion center. So
Okay.
I do a weekly chemo thing, and within the next maybe 2 months or so, I am going to go back in and I'm going to do the stem cell transplant. And this
Okay.
time we're going to use my brother.
Nice.
Yeah,
Thank
so
God for
he's
family.
man, a beautiful thing, man. A beautiful thing, man. I love him so much, man.
That's what's up.
So he's going to donate his stem cells to me. Same kind of process or whatever. Um, they'll get them from him, and then from there clean them up in the centrifuge, and then donate them to me.
Amen,
Um,
man.
yeah. So I'll do the big chemo, and then we'll go through and do the stem cell transplant, and then I'll be sort of, down and all that good stuff for a while.
Okay.
But I think the difference, of course, now is like everybody's on telework anyway. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right. So
so I mean,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
here, you know, we come down to the place in the interview is like, you know, we transform minds and change lives. If you can give
absolutely.
maybe 2 to 3 positive deposits to encourage anyone that's going through multiple myeloma or, you know, what was it, cytoplasma?
A plasmacytoma. Yeah,
Plasmacytoma, I apologize. What
that's
would,
all good.
what's 2 to 3 things, you know, you can positively deposit for them?
Sure. I mean, I think one thing that was, really important for me was to have a good support system. Um, I do have a lot of family, of course, that really supports me. I've got a gazillion cousins. I've got, of course, the Noops.
Yep.
Last time around in 2018, I think there were probably like 30 brothers in the hallway, like a hospital or whatever, like just deep out here.
Yeah. So it's a
Um,
support system.
yeah, I mean, and then having faith. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Like, knowing that uh, your existence, is not yours; it's for a higher power, and it's their will. Uh, Whether it's time to be called home or you stay here. So there's
amen.
nothing that I can do, you know what I mean? Like it's beyond me, So
Say less. Well, look,
yeah, so
Mark, I definitely appreciate your positive deposits. Have that strong support system and God, that faith, that faith.
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely, man.
so thank you for definitely coming on. Where can we find you? You know, if someone wanted to reach out to you, you know, you have some social media? Are you on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on Instagram under the Mark Smith. So Thee Mark Smith.
Okay,
And I'm on Facebook as well. Same thing, Mark Smith.
Mark
So
Smith.
yeah, I mean, there's only one or two of us, right?
Right.
I should be able to find me.
Right, right. Well, you know, for those that are tuning in, you've heard it, Mark Smith, man, not only once, twice, 3 times, but going again. And his faith and his support system is going to get him through. So we thank you for tuning in. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Yes, we are on all streaming platforms, excuse me. And then, of course, if you want to continue to pour into positive deposits, you can donate. You see that button right there? The donate button. Please donate to the cause. You can go to positivedeposits.org to make your donation and, you know, to support other cancer survivors just like Mark, you know. So thank you for my team, awesome team. And it's a wrap. Good night.